Most troubled region in the world. The UN Security Council met on Monday in a day-long debate on conflict in North Africa and the Middle East. At the heart of the discussion, how to address the root causes of these conflicts and end the suffering of innocent civilians. Our UN correspondent Lilling Tan reports.
It's a region that spans two continents, home to hotspots where violence has taken a brutal toll on innocent civilians. And be it Libya, Syria, Yemen, or the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, their impact has reverberated far and beyond. At the Security Council debate on the root causes of these crises, UN Chief Antonio Guterres reminded member states that old and new conflicts, social grievances, terrorism, and violent extremism continue to undermine peace and security, development, and human rights.
Today, in a region once home to one of history's greatest flowering of culture and coexistence, we see many fault lines at work, old and new, crossing each other and generating enormous volatility. These include the Israeli-Palestinian wounds, resurgent Cold War-like rivalries, the Sunni-Shia divide, ethnic schisms, and other political confrontations.
The Security Council was joined by representatives from crisis countries, and despite differing and often opposing positions on individual conflicts, many acknowledged similarities in their root causes and echoed calls for a holistic approach to resolving them. The United Kingdom said considering each crisis in isolation will not succeed, and Russia's position is that attempts to deal with conflicts separately without taking into account regional and historical contexts are useless. Italy, meanwhile, reaffirmed its support for the Libyan peace process and updated the Security Council on its work with Libyan authorities to tackle human trafficking. But Italy also repeated calls for a collective response to security challenges on the Mediterranean Sea, the world's deadliest migration route and a key migrant transit point from Africa to Europe. And while much is at stake for the volatile region, the Security Council was also reminded that its own credibility where it comes to resolving conflicts and protecting civilians is also on the line. Lilling Tan, CGTN, New York.
The United Nations annual World Drug Report has revealed that production of cocaine and opium is on the rise. The report highlights the supply and demand for illegal drugs. During the release of the report in East Africa, officials noted that drug markets are expanding. Kenya has been singled out as a leader in the war on drugs in the region, but UN officials warn that the country could face an imminent heroin epidemic.
Kenya has over 18,000 people injecting heroin daily. 18,000 people. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a tragedy. Kenya has embarked on a fast-track path that sees more than 3,000 people who injected drugs accessing right now medically assisted treatment clinics. Those not yet ready or willing to enter into treatment, especially women, have access to clean injecting equipment to ensure that they stay healthy. Kenya is implementing right now recommended intervention and is doing it to save lives.
The 2018 edition of UNODC's World Drug Report is a call to action. It confronts the readers with the fact that, notwithstanding the sustained efforts made by the international community in the last decades, we have not made a sufficient dent in the problem. In fact, drugs and drug markets are more diversified than ever. In the middle of this issue, there are people who suffer a great deal due to the lack of tailored and quality services.
And let's now shift gears.